Welcome to the 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams podcast, where I deal a 6-minute or so episode every Monday morning that gives you juicy business ideas without taking up your valuable workday. Arnie, our founder, has been saying this for a long time now, going all the way back to when he first started working with managers and executives in the early SharePoint days well over 20 years ago. Most businesses don't have an education problem when it comes to Microsoft tools. They have an awareness problem. And I'm going to say something right up front here because this episode is worth sticking with today. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to walk you through what I honestly think is one of the clearest analogies we've ever used on this show. And if you hang with me, I think it's going to simplify how your entire Microsoft environment fits together in a way that just clicks. The kind of thing I don't think you'll forget. But before we get there are a few things you have to see first. Most leaders already know things aren't running the way they should. You feel it every day. Things take longer than they should. People redo work. Communication falls through the cracks. Nobody quite trusts where things are. What most people don't realize is how much of that could be cleaned up with tools they're already paying for. So again, it's not really an education problem. It's not that you need to go learn a bunch of apps and a bunch of features. It's that you haven't clearly seen what's possible yet. But here's where we want to push that just a little further today. Even when that awareness clicks, there's a second one that matters just as much. These tools don't fix anything on their own. If there's no structure underneath, if your actual business processes aren't clearly defined and lined up, then all you're doing is laying technology on top of confusion. And that never goes well. And honestly, this is where a lot of companies get tripped up. They hand everything off to IT. IT does exactly what they're supposed to do. They stand it up, they configure it, they make it work. And what you get back is something that's technically correct, but extremely generic. It doesn't really match how your business runs day to day, because while IT knows technology, they usually don't know the details of your business processes. And when people start using that new tool, such as when they got Teams, it just kind of lands with a thud. It's there. It works. But nobody really leans into it. And then there's one more piece, and this one matters more than people expect. You cannot fully delegate Microsoft deployment. IT can absolutely build a Teams site for you. They can wire it up, set it up, connect the pieces. That's not the issue. But they can't decide how your business actually works. That part has to come from leadership. Owners, managers, executives. You don't have to click the buttons, but you do have to stay involved enough to make sure what's being built matches reality. Out-of-the-box Teams and SharePoint do not match reality. They're generic and they're not helpful. They don't become helpful until they match how you run your unique business. So as we go through this, don't hear it as a tools discussion. Think awareness first, then structure, then ownership. If those three things are in place, everything else we're about to talk through is going to make a lot more sense. All right, now let's get into that analogy. Instead of thinking about Copilot as the front door of Microsoft, I want you to think about it as an intelligent robot that lives inside your business information and communication. This thing can move around, find information, connect things, bring you what you need, even handle certain tasks on its own. Now, if Copilot is the robot, Teams is the house. This is where your business actually lives inside Microsoft 365. And it's not one big open space. It shouldn't be, at least. It's a house with different rooms. Inside that house, each room represents a core process of your business. Sales has a room. Operations has a room. Service, finance, leadership, each one has its own place. And when you step into one of those rooms, the question is pretty simple. What does this room need to work well? That's where all your apps, information, and communications come in. And this is where people get turned around. The tools are not the structure. They're just the stuff inside the structure. They're the furniture and the appliances in your rooms. Some rooms need a SharePoint cabinet or a closet. That's where information is stored. It's organized, it's intentional, and people can trust what they find there because it's neatly stored in a cabinet inside the correct room. Other rooms need a dashboard, something more like a coffee table or a display on the wall. That's where the important information sits out in the open, so you can see it quickly without digging. You walk through the room, and it's right there in front of your face, and you don't have to move anything to see it. And some rooms need a Microsoft Planner setup. Think of that like a kitchen island. That's where work is actually happening. Things are moving, people are coordinating, tasks are getting done. It's also right in the middle of the room where everyone can see what work is happening without digging. The goal is not to use everything. Heck, Microsoft has a bajillion apps, and there are thousands of other third-party apps available to you in Teams via various avenues. The goal is to put the right things, and only the right things, in the right rooms and the right places in those rooms. When that's done well, the whole thing starts to feel pretty natural. People know where to go, they know where things belong, and work moves instead of getting stuck or lost. And now that robot, Copilot, can actually do something useful. It can move quickly. It can find the right things. It can connect information in a way that actually reflects how your business runs. But here's the part that really matters. Most businesses don't have that house. What they have, whether it's a team site, a SharePoint site, or even an old-fashioned on-premise server, is more like a storage unit. Stuff has just been added over time. No real plan. No clear layout. You've got duplicates of everything. You've got information in 3 different places. Processes kind of overlap. Nobody is completely sure what's current and what's not. And when somebody needs something, they're just digging, looking, guessing, rebuilding things that already exist but can't be found. Now drop the smartest robot in the world into that environment. It still struggles. Because the issue was never intelligence. It's structure. The robot doesn't know which file is the right one. It doesn't know which process actually matters. It sees duplicates, it sees noise, and sometimes it just moves faster, but in the wrong direction. Now compare that to a house that's been set up intentionally. Each area has a purpose, each tool has a reason for being there, and each piece of information has a home. Everything is set up strategically and is intuitive to humans and robots alike. In that kind of environment, that same Copilot robot becomes incredibly effective. It moves cleanly through the house. It connects the right things. It supports the way the business is supposed to run instead of fighting against it and guessing what's real and what's current. That's really the shift here. Copilot is not the solution by itself. It's the amplifier. If your structure is solid, it makes everything feel faster and clearer. If your structure is messy, it just makes the chaos happen more quickly. And that, folks, is the analogy. Teams is your workgroup's house. It's organized and cataloged by rooms and the furniture and appliances within those rooms. Copilot is your Jetson-style intelligent robot who has free reign of the whole thing. I hope you found it useful and that you'll share it with your business buddies who may have the same scattered information environment that is so common. And just as a quick reminder while we're here, everything we talk about on this show gets a whole lot more useful when that structure underneath it is in place. If you're trying to sort that out, what belongs where, how this should be laid out for your business, that's exactly the kind of thing we're always happy to help you think through. And one last quick note. As we mentioned last episode, we are in the process of rebranding the podcast to 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Copilot. That'll take a little time on our end, so you may still hear the current name for a bit. But the direction is already set, and the ideas are already in place. I'll see you next week. This is Annie signing off.